I mean, basically, you guys are ready for anything. Like that's basically
Anything.
what you, yeah, anything, right?
Yeah.
Fuck, nuts. Now when we talk about like certain projects, like for instance, the Jamaican iguana, right, is something that you specifically work with. Um, who's like who gets in charge of like the projects like the Komodo dragons and stuff like that, or like is there projects for Komodo dragons, or let's just start
Yeah,
talking about.
so for a lot of those high profile species, you have what's called an SSP coordinator, which is somebody who um, basically determines, what goes on with all of those managed animals throughout all the collections. Or you have stud bookkeepers, which are people that determine, which animals are going to be paired up with which ones. They keep track of who's breeding, which offspring are coming from which pairs, where those offspring are going. So you have to apply to be an SSP coordinator or a stud bookkeeper, and then a board will vote on it based on your experience and
Wow.
things like that. And so it's an honor to be in charge of one of those programs. And so it could be anyone at any zoo, but because the zoos are all connected via a network, we talk, and that's how we might have a few Komodos, and the SSP coordinator will say, "Hey, this year you guys are going to pair up these two, so put them together this month, do this, this, and this, and let us know, how many you hatch or things like that." So there's somebody in charge of all the programs, and I'm not in charge of anything. I just am a keeper, and so I just do what they say,
You get to
essentially.
you get to dabble in everything. That's amazing.
Yeah, a little bit.
So do you know like the back info as far as like because I think we talked about it a little bit, but like exactly how many in total Komodos does Miami Zoo keep?
We have four. Yeah.
Four Komodos, and they're all adults.
No, they're actually all pretty young. We had some adults, and over the past few years, they started passing away one by one.
Wow.
Some of those were original animals that came in from Flores. Some of those were first generation offspring. So all those older animals had just started passing away, and we have the next generation growing up. So the one that you were showing in those two pictures, that's currently my largest animal.
And this is second generation, or this was actually bred here?
She
Like
was bred in LA at LA Zoo,
okay.
and then she went to Dallas, and then she came to us.
Okay. And so let's talk about the behaviors and stuff like that. Because I mean, dude, you look like you just got it down. Like, you know what I mean? Monitor people isn't like, I feel like you have to be chosen for that. Like you got to be born a monitor person. Like you just got to know how to be with them. You got to be relaxed. Like it's just like I feel like, I have a lot to learn. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
one don't want to be with the monitors tense. You got to be relaxed and you got to trust. That's how that trust building starts, right? But with the Komodo and stuff like that, like I want to know like the monitor experience you have, and then what it's like, having, to work with a monitor like a Komodo, like the king of kings.
yeah. Just like anybody else, I've worked with a bunch of monitors over the years. The animals that I've had, or animals that have been at the places that I've worked at, um, usually they're misunderstood animals. Like at the village, we would always get wild caught Nile monitors from Florida. Like we have a population of Nile monitors wild here, and FWC or whoever would bring them in. These wild ones, instead of killing them, and we'd throw them in a cage, and then people would throw food at them. So I would try to take the time to like learn, how to kind of work with these animals without, constantly like grabbing them, to move them, things like that. Like, how can we do this where it's a little bit more peaceful for myself
Yeah,
and the animal?
right.
But like you said, like, I think to be a monitor person, you just kind of have to get it, you just have
Yeah,
to understand them. And, you know, when you like watch them, you just kind of know what they're thinking just based off their body language or what they're doing. And for some reason, Komodos just came super easy to me. I just like went in with this plan in my head of how it's going to work with them, and it just kind of worked. Like I'm very relaxed with them. I watch them, and I just keep calm and let them come to me. Like I don't usually pursue them because we have a building. We have our exhibit, which is outdoors. Then we have a building with a bunch of stalls, and then all those stalls outdoor holding as well. So what I'll do is in the morning, I'll just open a stall door and I'll sit on the floor and I'll just let a Komodo come out, and they'll do a lap around the building, they'll smell things, and then eventually they'll just wander over and they'll sniff me and stuff, and we just kind of hang out. Like some people, they have this nervous energy around monitors, and
Yeah.
I just think they feed off of that, and they get nervous as well. They're like, why is this person acting the way they are? Why are they posturing the way they are? Why are they uncomfortable? So I just feel like I'm always comfortable around them, even though I'm watching what they're doing and ready for anything that can happen. Um, I just try to stay as cool as possible, and I think it really pays off with them.
Yeah, I just feel like they're just probably looking at you like, why are you tripping, bro? Like, fucking, you don't want me to trip if you trip. You know what I mean? Fucking, man, it's amazing, dude. Now with the Komodos, also like their diet. I mean, what are they eating every day? They eat every other day. What's their diet like?
We eat twice a week, typically, or sometimes during the winter we'll feed a little bit less, and we just real like small meals, a little bit of everything. Different rodents, birds, fish, horse meat, eggs. Whatever we got, we'll just kind of throw it at them and switch it up. Some places like Zoo Tampa, they do carcass feeds only, which is basically they'll hang something up, they'll let their Komodo gorge, and then they won't feed them for a few weeks, which is a little bit more similar to how adult Komodos would eat in the wild.
Wow.
They take down something big, they fit as much as they can, and then they spend the next few weeks digesting and just kind of hanging out, all lazy. And their Komodos are beautiful. Our Komodos are really good shape as well. I think as long as you don't try to power feed them. I think like the original Komodos that came in, people just wanted these big monsters on exhibit, and so they would just feed them and feed them and feed them. And maybe they thought like if they were fat, like they wouldn't be as dangerous, and so they would just pump them full of food. But that's obviously terrible for the animals. Their spines were suffering and joints and things like that. So I think a lot of zoos have caught on where it's like, okay, let's slow down. Let's do small meals often, or we could do the carcass feed thing and make them work for the food. Like I post a lot of videos on my story. I don't know if I post many on my page, where I'll hang things off of like a wire, like a cable or something like that. Yeah, exactly. And we'll make them jump up and pull on it, and you can see her muscles in the picture.
Yeah,
like
she's ripped.
It's really good for them. Yeah, and
look at her legs. Her legs are swole. Like look at the back legs. You can see the tricep. I don't know what that is, but geez, or like it's just like a thigh muscle. I don't know. That thing's fucking. She's ripped.
Yeah, quads, I guess. But yeah, she's shredded. That's because we do stuff like that, or I'll bury eggs under the ground. I'll put a log over it, and they got to move the log, with their claws and pull back and work all those back muscles and stuff. And I think that keeps them super limber and super lean and healthy. And they love it. They have a blast doing that stuff. No Komodo just wants to walk in and eat from a pile on the floor. They want to work at it, do stuff. So
yeah, that's not their instinct. Like they have to. They're wild. Like they're as wild as they come. You know what I mean? They have to go through shit. And I feel like the mental state of it too, of them thinking like they have to hunt for something, is probably healthy for them too. Like you know what I mean? Like it's still a hunt, you know what I mean? Even if it's a chill one, but like if you, for instance, you see like lions and tigers be fed, and they'll even play with their food and act like they're hunting because that's just in their instinct, you know what I mean? But like you said, they don't like to just walk up to a food, eat a whole fucking plate of guts, and just say, all right, I'm gonna go back over your 5 feet from here, and
yeah, that's no fun for them, and it's you got to keep them mentally sound. There's not all the other like stimuli that they would have in the wild, and so you got to do things that are keeping them, sharp mentally and physically. Plus, occasionally things like an iguana will fall in the exhibit, and that's like happy playtime for a Komodo. They'll chase it down, they'll carry it around, they're all proud of it, all day, and that's real hunting for them. And so, as a keeper, to me, it's like, all right, have it. I'm not going to try to take it away from her. That's a lot of fun. That's great enrichment. Do your thing and enjoy it.
Sweet. So, how would you relate Komodos just like to any other monitor as far as behavior and like like how they eat and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're pretty similar to other monitors. Brian Fry, who's the guy that has done a ton of research on Komodos and Komodo venom. I was just watching something from him the other day, and he basically says that Komodos are a branch off of lace monitor. And so if you ever look at lace monitors or work around them, they're real similar. Like the big lace monitors from certain parts of Australia, when you look at the big males and their heads have like all these, these muscles on top and the nose gets that hump, it looks a lot like a Komodo